Go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow at DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.
And that's how we're going to get you out of bed. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. Hey, listen, because if you can't get out of bed, it doesn't matter what time it is, does it? But let me tell you, you can start right now with a blank page. Grab your journal. I'm going to grab mine and my pen. That's my pen. Sound effects. And let's figure out, I was sitting here. The dog is crawled over in the corner. He is resting. I'm in between laundry cycles. I paused. I muted the television, although I'm going to keep it on because I'm like, oh, we're going to try to go a good 15 minutes. Hey, it gets good. We're going to do 30. It gets better. We'll keep going. But no, we're not going to go too long because this is book 2 of How to Get Out of Bed. The real good stuff, and I know it's all good every day, but the real good stuff is we want to continue to talk about these 90 episodes that we did. We took 90 days to figure out how to get through trauma, drama, get back productive. And I think I'm well on my way. I've made some additional steps this week. It's still one of those weeks. But listen, on a good day, when it's a good day, get her done. When it's a good day, get her done. Because we know that things cycle through and we have to process that. And people are going through things. In fact, I just learned something new this morning. Y'all, we got to continue to speak out loud. We don't have to broadcast everything, but we got to continue to speak out loud because there's so many delusions to this thing and this game, and the leaf blowers on the way. So I really got to hurry up because they're going to come all up to the window, the doors, and all around. What's the day? Thursday? Do they just come on Thursday? I don't even know what day they come. It's like it's just there. And he's getting closer and closer. And y'all probably like, we can't hear that. I can. It's in my other ear. So, but what I want to, somebody posted this morning about Spanx, and I'm older than Spanx, so I just remember the girdles and the waist pinchers and all those kind of things. I'm not of the waist trainers and the Spanx and all that. Only thing I remember about Spanx is Octavia Spencer said one year she was on the red carpet. I think this was after they helped, and I think because they won, right? Then they went for like the help or one of those shows, and she said she had on double Spanx and she fell backstage and she couldn't get up. That's the only thing I know about Spanx. I also know don't get it twisted now, because I was recently invited to the Spanx headquarters, and of course it was one of those days I couldn't get out of bed, so I didn't go. It was a dark time. I didn't get a chance to go. I was supposed to go, and they were having a convention of sorts for leading women, young women, and I've been offered the opportunity, and this is what happens when you can't get out of bed, y'all. I don't know what's on the horizon, but I was offered the opportunity to interview Soledad O'Brien. And it was I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to come back. And I remember accepting it and saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to put that on the calendar. I'm going to try and achieve that as a goal, to get up, to get dressed, and to go out. And I don't know I can't remember. I probably just couldn't do it. I think I just couldn't do it. And the irony of it was, days after, literally like days, if not hours after that, Soledad lost not one but both of her parents. I was like, whoa, because that's my journey right now, and that's her journey right now. And so what I did do was I started paying a little bit more closer attention to her tweets. Outside, she's now outside of the realm of daily television and daily news. She's doing her own projects and so forth, which she's always done. So interesting thing. I mean, that's the kind of things that happens, and I have to say that because and I hate to go for that is part of the space. Oh, one of the reasons I was talking about Soledad is because this event was at the Spanx headquarters, and so if you have young women out there, look up and see, because apparently Soledad has a foundation that has these activities for young women. Oh my God, I'm trying to think what it's in that term. There's a term with it that says what this group does for motivation, inspiration for young women. And they had their conference their past conference was at the Spanx headquarters. And so, PR wise, they made a day for photo ops and personal interviews to sit down with Soledad. And I was like, ooh, that would be, being that it's right here in Atlanta, that would be one of the perfect vehicles, or what I thought would have been a great vehicle, not perfect. I mean, I want to stop using that word perfect, but that would have been a great vehicle for me in coming back to, if I want to get back into that kind of thing, and I can do it. I wasn't ready, and so, but it did spark. I'm gonna grab that word because that was another conversation I just had. It did spark something like, wait, why haven't I done more of these? So I started to look and to see. Let's write that down. Let's go with that as our word of the day, spark, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find, how many of you are out there trying to find that spark again? I was on a conversation on Ava DuVernay's timeline, and they're talking about, she posted she's still with Kaepernick because people are responding to the fact that Jay-Z has done a deal with the NFL or Super Bowl, or which would mean, well, NFL itself is a corporation and foundation. Is more so a foundation as well. No, I think it's a corporation that has a foundation, and so Jay-Z has done a deal. But I'm thinking about, because remember last year everybody was like, Jay-Z turned down the Super Bowl, and everybody was like, fight the power. I'm like, well, did Jay-Z ever say he did it actually in protest, or did he ever say? Because like Beyonce and Jay-Z, they'll let the stands and the Beehive say and do and go. They just let them go wild with this. They let them run with stuff. Let's put it that way. They let them run with stuff. But I mean, did Jay-Z ever say he turned it down in protest, or did people ever say, oh, well, he turned it down, must be in protest, right? Because now, because I was like, but wait, Beyonce is notoriously tied to Super Bowl. She's done the national anthem. People are like, well, we didn't have the protesting. Excuse me, but we're 50 years into this situation with police. If we ever keep our eyes on the prize, it is always and forever this situation. But people were like, well, we didn't have the protest at that time. It was okay that she sang the national anthem, did her own Super Bowl, appeared again at Super Bowl as a feature, and whatever else, that was years ago, like, okay, yeah, but whatever. Anyway, so I'm just wondering, I know everybody's dissecting and going back and looking and trying to figure out this deal, and people are saying that Jay-Z is a sellout and has sold out. I'm like, well, did he ever say that he actually turned it down? Because, because Jay-Z and Beyonce, y'all got to understand, they function on equity, right? It's not just about getting a check, getting a little bit of money. They function on that they need a lifetime payment, so they are the epitome of negotiations. And what I like about them, notice I didn't say love, what I like about them is, time, they don't have that sense of urgency that a lot of other entertainers have. They don't mind, I'll wait, like Beyonce when Lion King came out. And I don't know, this should really be a buzz or back, should not necessarily how to get out of bed, but it's how to get out of bed. I get out of bed on good juicy stuff. So anyway, so Beyonce, if y'all didn't notice, Beyonce, it took a while for Beyonce to post a trailer for The Lion King because she was still negotiating how she was going to, whether or not they were going to let her incorporate parts of Lion King into her new album. If you haven't seen the track list for the album, it's a piece of Lion King and a Beyonce song. It's a piece of Lion King and a Beyonce song. And, that's a serious licensing deal that had to be negotiated, and apparently all the I's weren't dotted and the T's weren't crossed until you saw Beyonce some 4 days, some a week later, after the movie opened, even though she satisfied her obligation that, Monique has taught us well on her obligation to the movie and appearing at the 2 premieres, but she had not yet posted to her many, many millions of followers and Beehives beyond that. That didn't come until it's like, okay, I can release my album with these Lion King clips in there. And so that's just part of it. So, negotiation, honey, you got to watch it. So did Jay-Z sell out, or did Jay-Z decline the Super Bowl last year, or what was the year before? What year did they have? I guess it was last year. Everybody was complaining about the sucky halftime, which I thought the halftime was cool. What was it? Big Boy. There was Super Bowl was in Atlanta. Big Boy was on there, and they were like, "It's okay, he's just doing a feature." Y'all don't know how to draw a line. If we let you trace it, like here is the line. Okay, so even right now there are some back and forth on that, and the word spark came out of that conversation, that very long-winded conversation, that very 10-minute conversation I just had about sparks, what sparked that conversation. So, but I want to talk about that because I thought going to that day, going to the Spanx headquarters would have sparked, and it did spark. But here's what happens. Sometimes we want to light a whole. I know forest fire is not a good reference. Sometimes we want to light a whole flame when it's really about just the spark. It's really about getting started. And some of us, can't get out of bed because we think that what should be just a baby step, or what should be just a step to continue to propel us forward, should get us to the entire destination. And that's not how this thing works. Sometimes we feel like the negotiation should come quick, or the yes should come quick, or it shouldn't, that this time thing, like, here in our household, we're having to like just kind of bite a whole week, right? And it's like, thank God, you got to find that moment of being grateful. Well, thank God we're biting it right now in our burn week, because you know how I am about my burn days. Thank God it happens in a burn week, right? And for those of you that are catching, let me stop and reset a little bit. For those of you listening to this in a real time, I don't have the other devices to watch the conversations. I will go back and check your comments. If you are on, we are on Periscope. The conversation is happening on the How to Get Out of Bed Facebook page. How to Get Out of Bed Facebook page. That's where the conversation is actually taking place. So do follow us over there. We're going to run these in a couple places. We're going to bring it back. We're on YouTube today as well. And so just putting it out there because I really want to make this a one source so that I can come on and check out the conversation. Let me see if it does pull in any of the comments. Let's see. Nope. Okay, it's not gonna pull them in. It's because I'm using three. Let me see. I'm using two services to broadcast this live. It's going to 4 different places, and I'm going to gauge whether or not, because this is the question: does it need to be all these different places? And periodically, I will pull it back because I have to ask myself, or I have to ask you. Do you really need this as a two-way conversation? I like it being a two-way conversation. I cannot monitor it in all those different places and have it as a short conversation that we need to. So when I finish today, we did it yesterday, we're doing it today. And I really have to figure out if I want this to be a two-way conversation. Two-way conversation is going to mean that I need to have all these other devices around me so that I can respond to the comments and figure out how we're going to broadcast this. So if you are wherever you are, please leave a comment so that I can know. And I know by the numbers, but sometimes, and here's the thing, sometimes there are live numbers, and when you're doing these things live, and I got to talk about this weekend. I still didn't pull up the flyer, but I want to talk about this weekend. Remind me tomorrow. But you go to the timeline, you're gonna see a number of postings out there about an event. Saturday, I am going to stop by an event and do a quick presentation, live stream one-on-one that 2 amazing women are having, and I'm going to talk about this. So I wanted to do this week in a couple of ways, and so leave a comment, let me know. But when you're live streaming is about, I have to tell you, it is about a two-way conversation. It is about a two-way conversation. And so I feel bad when, because I have a conscience. I feel bad when I'm broadcasting everywhere and it's not a two-way conversation. Like, and I know YouTube is not, it kind of is. I mean, if you're live, it should be a two-way conversation. I feel guilty when it's not. So what I normally would do is I will broadcast it and then play it at different times on different networks. So, but right now I needed to send it out so that I can see, because they're live numbers, they're replay numbers, they're live comments. I posted last night. I have a piece of content, amazing content that I did 11, almost 12 years, coming up on the 12-year anniversary of it, 12 years ago. Still gets daily views, daily comments, as if people just discovered it, because it's something that you will discover in a time of life. And that's why I wanted to do how to get out of bed. You might not need this today, yesterday, or even tomorrow, but there may come a time when you start to, when something you feel will feel familiar, because you're going to realize, because thanks to those of us that have shared our journey and shared our experiences, you're going to like, whoa, they left me some breadcrumbs. That's what I want this. I'm spark. What I said, breadcrumbs. I'm going to write that down. And I try to create a word cloud, because I'm not a great note taker. I have an excellent memory, but I'm not a great note taker. So I create a word cloud for each of these episodes. So I wrote down spark, wrote down breadcrumbs. And there's probably a couple other things. I'm going to write down journey, because that's what this is about. Our journey. And I think we put too many implications on what's supposed to move us, what's supposed to spark something in us. And it's not going to get you all there. We've got to learn how to keep moving. That's one. Keep being inspired. Keep finding ways of knowing how to go and get that little bit of inspiration. I don't mean for this to heal. Write that down. Totally heal you in that place that you are. It's just a little morsel of how it worked as for my healing kind of thing, right? I don't mean for you to be able to listen to one. And guess what? You might listen to one and find that spark. You might listen to this one and get nothing out of it. You go like, well, wait, she said there was more of these. And then you go and you look at the titles and you're like, oh, here's where I am today. So what we do is at the end, we go back and I put a little bit of what I call hindsight on there. So if you go over to the Facebook page that says how to get out of bed, or you go to DryerBuzz.com and you subscribe to the email, we no longer run a website, we run an email campaign, email newsletter, because you've said to me, you've proven over these 17 years that I've been doing this, that you like that intimate space. You like being able to shut out all the noise, and just go into a place where it's just you and the content. And the only place to really do that is the email. Email is so king right now, right? So go to DryerBuzz.com and put your email address on there. Opt into the email. One went out this morning, went out about 4 a.m. And it reminds those who say, I don't have time to go find you on social media. I can't go to the website. They get that email. They love it at a convenience. And don't overlook, for those of you that do have audiences, readers, viewers, listeners, customers, don't overlook that call for that request for convenience. Convenience is an economy. It's called the convenience economy, right? And then you have that premium economy. My premium economy, that's those who want this content in person, live and in person. So you go from they want it in a nice intimate space to they want it in person, right? So that's part of that. The thing with me is I'm working my way back to that premium. And one of the things I'm hoping this weekend, saying yes to that opportunity, will spark. Not totally be that's not my full destination. Write that down. That's not the full destination, right? It's just a spark. I didn't partner with the lady and say, listen, I want to be 1/3 of this thing. No, I want to come talk for a few minutes on where live streaming it has been, is, and is going, and what it should be for. I think their target is educators, because educators are having to go back into the classrooms and they got these side hustles. So I'm going to help them automate that process, because the journey that I have been on is that I just took almost 5 years off, and my brand suffered nonetheless. It didn't lose its place in the market space. So that's what I'm going to share, is how I was able to automate it, how I was able to do some things like I did the breakfast. That was part of it. writing the books and things like that. That was part of it. And then even coming back, doing the podcast, like I don't feel like I could be live on screen right now. I've been through some things and the trauma shows, going into the kitchen, and not losing the audience. So that's something I'm gonna share and talk about. But look for the spark. Look for the spark. You might not see the full light at the end of the tunnel. Like they just looked at this black hole. Y'all, it cracks us up. It cracks us up every time. Love the science mind, okay? But it doesn't it like crack us up when they put these images of this. There's a reason it's called the black hole. We can't see ish. All right, they just shared this video of this black hole, right? And they were like, it's the best image, it's the best this, that we ever had. And you're looking at it and it looks highly pixelated. Like, what, y'all, are they still fooling us? Is this like really real? And like, what difference does it make? Who's trying to go into the black hole? What does it really mean? Is we going to get sucked in one day? Will we even know? We don't even know how we run floating around space. I didn't stay in that class. I just didn't. Astronomy, what is it? Astronomy? Okay. Astrology? What is, I get it. I still to this day getting confused with horoscopes. Okay. I'm like, which is it, y'all? Space. Okay. Because, keep in mind, they kept our brilliancy, that sounds like buoyancy, our brilliant secret in this thing called Hidden Figures. We didn't find out that it was truly women, and then let alone black women, Italian women, and it was really women hidden off in these little rooms at NASA while all these men sat around smoking cigarettes and acting like they took different countries to space when it was really the genius mind of a woman that really figured this thing out, that got all that stuff off the ground. Okay, and when it was really the genius mind of a woman that built spaceships as well as ships. We are now finding out all half the damn Navy ships was designed by women, particularly black women, and not even particularly black women, because there's still some hidden figures. They just want to say the black women because they know that black women spending billions of dollars on the entertainment value of movies with a little bit of their history in there. I'm like, spark. Look for the spark. If you keep going for the spark, guess what that spark is going to do? It's going to light that flame again. I am trying to get out of bed so I can light that flame again. And I love that part of it is lit again in me. When I finished, when I said, okay, I want 90 good episodes of how to get out of bed. And then this fall, I'm going to work on what that means, what it looks like as far as either a book, a talk, a conversation, an event. I don't know yet, right? I think a book, a journal, how to get out of bed. But I also think an event, or maybe it's a conversation. Maybe I'm going to submit it next year to the different conferences and panels and things like that, right? Because this year is pretty much over and 2020 is just months away. And when the holidays come and everybody think about nothing but budgets. I don't know about y'all, but when the holidays come, like I'm sitting here now, I'm so excited because Lord, let September come and October, November, December. That's budget time, right? That's when you start putting the numbers on what you're doing. And I have done enough to spark a great 2020 return. Not even a return, but I have done enough. I'm looking for enough spark so that I can really know what 2020 ought to be, and some plans and things that I've got planned for 2020. And I hope you do too. I hope that this conversation, 23 minutes in, and go another 7 minutes, we'll end it. But I hope that it has sparked something in you, and helping you to get out of bed and to look for just that little spark. When that guy put that video there, and I'm looking at it because I can't tell when it starts and stops, and look like it's just a little snippet, looking at this black hole, right? And all I could say, I was like, wait, there was a little spark. What was that? And it was just literally, it was so pixelated. I saw a little spark in this conversation. People are talking about Kaepernick and Jay-Z and the NFL, and one lady said that Cap taking a knee sparked something. I'm like, but wait a minute. No, something sparked him to take the knee. When we continue to say this thing is about Kaepernick and about, this protest is about letting the players, do their silent protest. And it's like, but wait, Now it's like we got stuck there, y'all. We are how many years into this? How many years into this thing trying to decide whether or not I mean, my question is, I don't understand why we're putting so much pressure on. I still don't understand why so much pressure on sports and entertainment as opposed to lawmakers and police. I don't understand that, And okay, I just I don't understand that. I don't understand it. Because you keep saying, we got to protest the national anthem, but then when hella black people are signing up to sing the national anthem, it's like, it's so confusing. There's no real true manifesto for this thing. And we know what, I don't think people even realize what the outcome is. Because there's more people talking about letting players, I don't want to say it's more press. It's more press, I guess I should say, for football players attempting to take a knee, or athletes for that matter, because the tryouts that's happening for whatever the Winter Olympics is coming up, I guess. Is it? I don't know, but there's a lot of Olympic coverage. There are a lot of what is it? What do you call them? The people who try out for the Olympics. It's a lot more coverage right now on them. And there was where they did the medal presentation. There was a person that took a knee, and so we saw that, and because I think the Winter Olympics are coming, and so there's a lot of press on them, and so the opportunity. But the thing about it is, we're still at the point where, because the real issue is happening in that grand jury. We got some grand juries where they're saying, okay, they will indict police officers. There has been some cases, and we don't follow these things all the way through. We just so excited about the spark, that with that spark happening, that spark is lighting something. And so there was one case that recently where there was an indictment. There was one case where there recently was an actual sentencing. I think a police officer got some time, but we continuously still have these grand juries. I was watching, I don't know about y'all, but Court TV is back. Court TV is back. And I was watching Court TV, and there was this murder, and this woman who is a witness, they were trying, now that they're out of the grand jury, because the grand jury, nobody knows who testifies in the grand jury. Nobody knows who goes before the grand jury. Well, apparently she went before the grand jury. Now they're calling her as a witness, and they're going through all of her testimony. I was like, what is this? They were going through all of her testimony that she gave through the grand jury, and apparently, she's like, I don't recall. They were like, well, do you recall being asked this? And do you recall being asked that? Do you recall saying this person did this? And do you recall, and everything was, do you recall? She was like, I don't recall. Do you recall showing up for grand jury? I don't recall. Do you recall pointing out the assailants in this? I don't recall. Do you recall saying that it was Mr. So-and-so who pulled the trigger? I don't recall. Do you recall being in the vehicle? Do you recall them showing up? You said, they said, do you recall saying that you took them to your auntie's house? Y'all know, that immediately brought up that Jesus song, right? She was like, I don't recall. And then, both, not just defendant, but now mind you, she's on the stand sitting now in front of the person who's on trial for the murders, but both the prosecutor and the defendant, the prosecutor and the defense are asking her, going through all this testimony she gave in the grand jury, and the defense comes up, which one? The prosecutor comes up, and the prosecutor, the defense goes up. She don't even recall what she said on either. Both of them, neither of them can use her testimony because she don't recall none of it. So they basically going through this thing. So even then, here comes the prosecutor comes up. He said, "Well, I'm sure you're not going to recall this either." And then he goes in, but yet they're reading her grand jury testimony because that's what the jury is hearing. Do you recall this? Do you recall it was you? The only reason. Do you recall the only reason we're here and able to prosecute this person is because of your testimony that he arrived at your aunt's house with these other gentlemen and the victim who's now deceased, right? Do you recall seeing the victim who's now deceased? I don't recall. I'm watching this thing like, y'all, this some drama. This and whoever, but you know what? And I'm laughing because there's some entertainment value to that. But lo and behold, that person is on trial for murder. And by her saying, I don't recall, if that jury, if at some point this testimony gets thrown out, or if that jury is not convinced that this is, whether she recalls or not, that she pinpointed that this is the guy that did commit this murder, it's up in the air. This person, who is obviously the leader of some kind of ill-gotten gangster thing going around and taking people's lives for whatever reason. I don't know what they gained from this, but one person was sitting there already in a prison attire, already in prison for something else, brought him out of prison to testify against this guy. So I guess that based on his testimony, but who do you trust his testimony? Because he's trying to support the state so that he can get his sentence lessened. I'm like, how do you? I'm so thankful. I've never had. I got requested for jury duty one time and dismissed. In the case that I got called up for, somebody was suing one of the lawnmower companies because. But anyway, let me finish that. So if they don't. This person could literally walk for murder, y'all. Walk for murder. But I got called one time for jury. Only once I have, because I'm one of those people, I don't read my mail. So hopefully I hadn't missed any jury summons out there. I hope they do that in a different manner now. But I went to jury duty one time. And it's really interesting. And you basically, you start out in this full body and all these cases come in and they say they need X amount of people for this and X amount of people for that and X amount of people for this. And you go in and you sit and then you sit and you see this was actually a lawsuit. And the gentleman was now quadriplegic. He apparently had purchased a lawnmower that didn't allow the store. Y'all, it's amazing. I love this how they frame these things. So they were in essence countersuing him because he did not allow the store to assemble the lawnmower. Decided he was going to assemble it himself. So they was blaming him for becoming a quadriplegic over the accident that he then therefore had with the lawnmower. And so he apparently assembled the lawnmower himself and ended up going out just simply trying to mow his lawn. Ended up the thing some kind of way fell apart, and he therefore suffered an injury, a fall, and an injury that injured his neck and spine, y'all. And he ended up a quadriplegic, having been found sometime later out in his yard. And he was suing one of the lawnmower companies, and a big brand name, and they were in fact defending themselves. And so we had to sit and listen, and man, they were throwing away the questions that they ask you, beyond have you ever mowed a lawn. I mean, in my family, my grandfather was very serious about it. The girls ain't going out there cutting no grass. Okay, so I don't know what that's like. I mean, we had a very patriarchal grandfather where the girls do this, the guys do this, to the point where girls weren't even allowed in the kitchen on certain days, if you know what I mean. I mean, there were just some rules, written, unwritten, said, and unsaid, right? And we only had a couple of boys in the family. It was a whole bunch of girls and a couple of boys, but there were things that the boys had to do, and there were things, and as much as you wanted to, like, I'm sorry, I've just never cut the grass. Even my own, like, I'm like, no, I ain't get out there behind that lawnmower, And I think I probably tried it. I think I bought a lawnmower for the son one time. Let me try it. He said, "My move," because I was just gonna do it all wrong anyway. And you know how men are anyway. And young men, boys, everybody. Anyway, so but the questions that they ask is whether or not you could be on this jury. And let me get out of here because I'm over. But the questions that they ask is just, it's absolutely amazing what they decide to keep and dismiss you on. And I don't know that I got dismissed. I don't think I ever got to the questioning part, because I think they had found enough, and it was getting close. And I definitely went for a couple of days as they were trying to find this jury, to decide on this. But the questions they were asking, not just if you've ever mowed the lawn, what do you think about this company or that company? What do you know about the case? And so forth and so on. And either they will dismiss you and you're done, or dismiss you back to the jury pool, and then you have to sit in to see if you can get on another case and things like that. And there were those who were diligently trying to, and I think in some places you can just go and sign up, because oftentimes people just don't show up for this thing. So and too many of the wrong people are always available. Can I say that? A lot of the reasons a lot of this stuff happened in this country, because too many of the wrong people are always available. Not enough. And I wish that there was some semblance where we could really say, Your Honor, those are not my peers, because that whole jury of your peers thing, I don't know that even works in America. I don't even know why that's even a thing, because you can look over there, and I've gone just to sit in the courtroom, just on the blogging and being nosy tip, and sat in on some cases and some things, and you can look over there and say, those are not his or her peers. I'm like, where they get this? But it depends on your attorney and the questioning and the selection of that jury. And if you are, depending on who's representing you, and let me tell you, and that thing, the way this court system is set up, and these judges who get elected, these judges who get elected time and time again, because no one wants to run against them, because if they lose, they then have to practice in front of them and so forth. So you just got to wait till they fall dead off the bench, before somebody else gets a chance to do that, and until some brave soul gets sees that spark, and follow those breadcrumbs on that journey, in that destination of healing, and find that flame, right? And here comes the leaf blower again. So let me get out of here, y'all. So that's it. That's our word cloud of the day. Look around. You could be in complete darkness. You could feel every weight of everything on you. Just look for that little spark, y'all. I'm telling you, time is on our side. You may think it's not, but it is. Keep that little door open. Keep saying what you got to say. Keep expressing what you feel, because it's what you feel. Ain't nobody trying to dismiss none of that. Not in this how to get out of bed. I'm not telling you to get beyond it. I'm not telling you to get over it. I'm telling you, here's how you go through it. And there will come a day, if you have any kind of recall that life was at a time something else, you can get there again. If you have any recall that you felt different about this, or you felt better, you can feel that again. If you've had any kind of sense that you used to have this, or you can have that, you can. It all starts with what you're willing to believe. And it might just be that tiny bit of something that sparks the flame. It may not be the flame, but it may just be a spark. And don't bother keeping up with, well, that spark was so long ago. That's all right, because look at the planet. Look at there's something right now lying dormant, waiting for the season to change, and it spark. Like all these spiders we're having to cohabitate with, they stayed dormant all winter long and wreaking havoc around here all summer. I can't wait for the temperature to drop so these things can stop bothering me. I can't wait for the first 70, 65, 50, 45, 35 degrees so they can go back where they came. I had to clean up an ant bed the other day. I'm like, where did they come from? They come so quick and so silently. And I'm like, when did that happen? Overnight. Listen, all of this stuff is continuously going. Find yours. Look for your spark. It's out there. It's just a little bit. It's just a little bit. But it's happening again and again. And one day you're going to get all those sparks together, and you're going to have that glow and that flame. All right. That's it for me at 39 minutes. And we have some support through this thing. Can I just say thank you for our support last month, and as we get ready to go into our holiday season. So thanks everybody. You know that we are supported by naturalsoapbythekid.com. Go to naturalsoapbythekid.com. Use the discount code DryerBuzz. Also, we want to say thank you to D. Lee Inspires. D. Lee Inspires. We're going to be working with them this fall on this How to Get Out of Bed book and possibly event that we have going on. So we definitely want to say thank you. But listen, if you just stumbled across this and you're like, how didn't I know about this? Why haven't I seen this little spark before? You got to go to DryerBuzz, DryerBuzz.com. Sign up for our email list so you'll get the notification. Not only get your notification, because first of all, How to Get Out of Bed is a daily. So guess what you're going to get? You're going to get in your email, so you don't have to go and try to find it on social media or what time we went live and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be over in your email. You can just listen right there. Just hit that button when we load it to the podcast platforms and those kinds of things, right? Plus all the other content that we have done. It comes out pretty much every other, I think about every other day. You get a summary of what we've buzzed about over the past couple of days and so forth and so on. So really excited. I feel the spark. I feel the spark to keep going. I'm excited about some things we're going to be working on today. As I look around. What is today? Today is Thursday. So I've got to go. I'm doing some things, trying to do a little something different, get the kitchen ready because I think we're getting ready. Temperature's dropping just a little bit. I think we're getting ready, pulling some recipes together, get ready to come back in the kitchen. And so we're gonna be doing some things today, doing a cleaning today. I got laundry, y'all. We did this in between laundry, so I'm gonna go start another load. I gotta run out to the hardware store. There's some things I need to find at the hardware store and check on some other stuff. And then guess what? I'm going to chill and good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We get another day. We'll be back tomorrow for another How to Get Out of Bed. You know there's only one thing I need you to do next, and that is
Go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow at DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.